Hello friends, welcome back to the King YouTube channel. Meghan Markle strikes again, this time in Colombia, turning what should have been a simple charitable visit into yet another headline-grabbing drama. And where was her ever-loyal husband, Prince Harry, during all of this? As usual, standing silently by while his wife caused yet another stir. One has to wonder, is there ever a moment of peace with these two? It seems like wherever they go, controversy isn't far behind. But isn't that always the case with Harry and Meghan? Some might argue that they are magnets for misfortune, negativity, bad press, and public backlash seem to follow them wherever they go. But perhaps it's not just ill luck at play. Could it be that they bring these situations upon themselves? It's fascinating to think that Harry and Meghan, who once enjoyed the privilege of royal life where everything was carefully managed, now find themselves under constant scrutiny. Do they not realize that people will fact-check their every word and action? Or perhaps, after a life where everything was swept under the rug, they believe they're still above it all. This isn't the first time Meghan has found herself at the center of controversy. Remember when she conveniently recalled her involvement with a book she previously denied participating in? Had she not been a member of the royal family, would she have faced legal consequences? It's hard to say, but one could speculate that her royal connections have shielded her from a harsher reality. Imagine if this had happened in the UK, public outcry and perhaps even legal action might have followed. It's the so-called two-tier system that many in the UK are now speaking of, and it seems to be making its way into Colombia as well. You might recall the infamous photo from their Colombia visit. Meghan, who has often spoken about being a hugger, was seen embracing her host's spouse. This wasn't just a friendly gesture, according to onlookers. It led to a near altercation as the wife, Franny, intervened to pull her husband away. You could argue that Meghan was just being herself, but isn't it curious how these situations always seem to escalate around her? According to a well-placed insider, Meghan seemed oblivious to the problem she had caused. This isn't the first time we've seen her in such a situation. Remember her overly familiar behavior with polo player Nacho Figueras? It seems Meghan's tactile nature often blurs the line between friendly and inappropriate. What's even more intriguing is that these photos are reportedly being suppressed in Colombian media, adding another layer of mystery to the whole episode. Could it be that Franny's distress over the incident is more significant than we know? And then there's the matter of finances. Meghan and Harry's trip was criticized for being lavish, with foreign organizations allegedly footing the bill. But where exactly did the money come from? Some speculate it might be linked to funding from the Invictus Games, an event close to Harry's heart. Yet it's hard to ignore the fact that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex don't seem to have the financial resources to support such endeavors on their own. Do you believe they are truly wealthy, or are they merely putting on a facade? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Press 1 if you think they're rich, 2 if you don't. Returning to that controversial hug, it was clearly the last straw for Franny. This incident, which quickly became a global talking point, left her feeling humiliated and betrayed. Despite her attempts to save face, her husband's silence has left him in hot water, as he has yet to publicly support her stance. It's a messy situation, and one can only speculate how it will unfold. Meghan Markle just can't seem to help herself, can she? She always seems to be pushing the boundaries, diving headfirst into someone else's spotlight and disregarding basic respect, especially towards other women. It's almost as if she has a radar for drama, always finding a way to make herself the center of attention. Consider her behavior towards Serena Williams' husband. She couldn't resist inserting herself into the narrative, overshadowing Serena in the process. And poor Harry, ever the hapless husband, rushes in to save the day, but his efforts are increasingly laughable. How long can he keep up this charade? Meghan's actions scream insecurity masked by bravado. She steps into every situation as if she has the divine right to dominate, only to act surprised when others don't roll out the red carpet for her. And there's Harry trailing behind her like a desperate understudy, trying to smooth things over. It's becoming a sad comedy, a narcissistic whirlwind, with Harry caught in the middle, playing the hero in a story that's spiraling out of control. One can't help but wonder if Meghan's antics are deliberate. Does she thrive on the chaos she creates, especially when it disrupts the lives of others? Look at the animosity she harbors towards William and Catherine. Why? Because William had the good sense to reject her advances and Meghan simply can't stand it. She's consumed by jealousy and resentment, unable to handle the fact that William never saw her as a threat to his marriage. Catherine represents everything Meghan can never be: a future queen, adored by the public, respected by her peers, and unshakable in her marriage. While Catherine steadily rises, embodying grace and composure, Meghan finds herself outclassed and outmaneuvered. Meghan's left clawing at the scraps, trying desperately to stay relevant in a world that has largely moved on. It must sting to know that Catherine is the real deal, the one destined for the crown, while Meghan remains an outsider, a footnote in royal history. And so she resorts to her usual attention-seeking antics, anything to stay in the headlines. But no matter how hard she tries, she'll never be more than an actress on a stage she was never meant to play on, overshadowed by the real stars who don't need to stoop to her level to shine. There's a world of difference between being naturally tactile and being outright flirtatious, and Meghan seems to blur that line with abandon. Instead of greeting men with a polite handshake or a warm smile, she dives right in for bear hugs, cheek kisses, and unsolicited back rubs, as if she's running some pop-up massage parlor. It's not just unprofessional, it's inappropriate, especially when many of these men are married. This isn't Hollywood, where casual touches might be overlooked. This is the real world, where boundaries and decorum matter. But does Meghan care, or is she so wrapped up in her own narrative that she's blind to how she's perceived? This kind of behavior can be exhausting for those around her. People may start to distance themselves, not out of malice, but simply because the constant need for validation can become overwhelming. It's as if she's trying to fill a void with the approval and attention of others, yet the more she seeks it, the more it eludes her. Genuine connections are built on mutual respect and understanding, but her approach seems to be driven by an insatiable need to be noticed, rather than a desire for authentic relationships. In social situations, her attempts to dominate conversations or steer the focus toward herself might initially attract attention, but over time it becomes clear that her interest in others is superficial at best. People may begin to feel used, as if they're just props in her quest for affirmation. This behavior can lead to a sense of isolation, as she pushes away those who might have been true friends by failing to reciprocate genuine interest and concern. Ultimately, if she continues down this path, she risks being remembered not for her charm or wit, but for the way she made others feel unimportant, overlooked, and secondary to her own needs. The very attention she craves might slip further from her grasp as people seek out more balanced and reciprocal interactions, leaving her to wonder why her efforts aren't yielding the connections she so desperately desires. In the end, Meghan's antics are more cringeworthy than empowering. This isn't a romantic comedy where the quirky lead wins everyone over with her bold moves. This is real life, where people see her behavior as crossing the line, not as some grand act of charm. Instead of empowering herself, Meghan is only embarrassing herself. No one's impressed, they're just baffled at how someone so supposedly aware could be so blind to how she's actually perceived. If Meghan's intent is to stay relevant through controversy, she's certainly achieving that. But at what cost? I'm eager to hear your thoughts and opinions in the comments section. Thank you for watching, and please support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our The King YouTube channel. Goodbye, and see you in the next video.